Hello and welcome to the Trading Post podcast, where we unlock the secrets of business-to-business trade, dive into powerful networking strategies, and share my exciting journey of using a podcast to market my business instead of relying on SEO. I'm your host, Trader Stu. Sustainability, smart upgrades, and making what you've got work in barbecue and business. So here's what you're going to hear in this episode. Why sustainability means more than just recycling. Sometimes it's about getting creative and doing more with what you already own. And how a busted vent on my old Weber kettle got me thinking about business, life, and stubbornness. And my honest take on upgrading the gear I added and what I wanted to buy and why I hit pause on those big shiny purchases. What business owners should actually say to me when I pitch them on MTA. You'll definitely recognize yourself or someone you know in these stories. Easy wins. My go-to tips for making your business more sustainable and efficient without starting from scratch. And shout outs to some folks who make this journey a lot more fun. Before we get started, thank you to Michigan Renaissance Festival, my sponsor. Metro Trading Association is whom I, of course, work for, sales and marketing manager for MTA. And I say they sponsor me because guess what? I get to do a lot of the things I do with them. So, because of them. And so I say they sponsor me. And then, of course, big shout out to Susie Q's kids. I do a lot of work with her and go from there. All right. So basically, welcome. I'm the Trader Stu from the Trading Post. Today's show is one of those from the backyard to the boardroom kinds of episodes. We're talking about making things last, whether it's your favorite grill or go-to business process. Now, if you know me at all, you know I love good barbecue. I first fell in love with it when I was in basic training in San Antonio, Texas, and my parents took me off base to, for a little R&R, and I was at some barbecue joint. I don't remember what it was called. There's a part of me that wants to say it was Dickey's Barbecue, but I really don't think it was a chain. I just don't think it was. It was so good. I mean, not saying that Dickey's is bad, but it was. I remember seeing an offset smoker walking up, and we were at I think it was on base. So I'm not sure if Dickey's can get on base or not. I'll have to look this up. I'm kind of curious now. But ever since then, doesn't matter. Texas, the summer of 2000, I fell in love with barbecue, and I've been chasing that or the taste, I guess, ever since then. So basically, if you love finding value, whether it's a new trade opportunity, a business tool, or just a little elbow grease fixing something up, trust me, there are lessons everywhere. So why I'm talking about sustainability. Look, it's a buzzword, sustainability, right? It's recycling, it's refurbishment, it's, talking about solar or wind or whatever, right? Sustainable. So it's on every corporate website. It's a buzzword. For me, sometimes it's as simple as not throwing out a perfectly good grill when I could fix it. I know this is where I go on the weekends. I'm always thinking about business, and it just hit me it doesn't matter. So we'll dig into how that connects to real business challenges and why the right upgrade is better than a total restart sometimes, right? So I'm going to share a quick story about a time. Well, I want you to share a quick story about a time you wasted money replacing something you could have fixed. Maybe laugh about it. Have a good time. And yeah. So, all right, here we go. So here's what happened. My old 22-inch Weber. The bottom vents rusted out. Very common. So completely corroded out. I couldn't use it. I couldn't control the throttle or the air vent for low and slow smoking, which actually I do more slow on that Weber kettle than I ever did with anything else. That's what got me. It was my gateway drug. I guess there's maybe a little sentimental value there too, of course. But it does a great job. It's fuel efficient. You can set it and forget it once you get the vents right, and walk away and come back 6 hours later and you got barbecue. So it's way more efficient and way less time consuming than my offset Oklahoma Joes. But I could have tossed it out. And I could have bought something else. But, I started scrolling for a gravity smoker. My wife was talking I should get. Basically, I figure a gravity smoker is like an automatic offset. Just slowly burns the charcoal as it goes down. The gravity assist, of course. You throw wood chucks in there. Wood chunks, not wood chucks, wood chunks. And, it does its thing all by itself. But there's just a part of me where I can't not fiddle with fire. The part of the offset that I love, I'm talking about two different things here. Weber kettle, offset, okay? And the offset. Because both grills are done. My Oklahoma Joe's is got a warped lid, is rusting out. I've already put a paint on it. I've already oiled it down, and it takes a lot of time. And I have a 2-year-old son, and that the story goes on further with that. But I'll give you a second for this one. So I really, in the end, the reason why I didn't get anything new is I didn't want to learn a new cooking style. I didn't want to start all over with accessories, figure out new temperature controls. Like, no thanks. I like what I know. And that's when I decided, you know what, let's repair it. Let's repair that old Weber. And it wasn't just the cheapest route. It actually felt really rewarding, okay? So my accessories that I bought a vent and I bought a rack thing and whatever, but it was like $126 as opposed to $1,800 for a old smoker, or what do you call old country gravity smoker. And don't get me started in the other offset. I'll get into that later. But so the details are ahead, I guess. So the gear game, maxing out what you have. Okay, so I don't stop there. So the rib racks I bought a 3 rib rack system. Okay, instead of 1, you can't put much on a Weber when you use it as like an offset, because you only put 1 rack down there because it takes up so much room, because you only have half the grilling area for actually smoking, because the other half is full of wood chips and charcoal. So I bought a rib rack that sits 3 rib racks on it on their side. And I got a chicken lollipop carousel thing that holds 18 drumsticks and a warming rack. So that way, I saw this thing that people are talking about, these country steaks where you take a pork butt and you cut them into steaks. It's supposed to be fantastic. And you have them cook above the coals, but you got to get the warming rack thing to get that elevated so they don't burn, because the fat's going to drip on the coals, blah, 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 I digress. But basically, I bought that too. And plus the vents. And I didn't buy the brand names. I bought whatever, $10 for these vents, right? So, and it doesn't take long to swap them out. And the other part is that I already also had a rotisserie that I got for a wedding gift that goes in the Weber, and I really didn't want to have to not use that. I don't want to give that up. And I have a couple other things too. The ribulator, which is like this carousel thing that attaches to it. I digress. It doesn't matter. Basically, I got a lot of fun stuff for this Weber, right? I don't want to get rid of it. So, and it's, other than that, it's not really all that bad a shape. So why start over and lose what works? That's my grilling legacy at this point, right? And nostalgia. So what accessory, or what's the weirdest accessory you ever bought for something old that just didn't make sense to anybody else, but to make it last a little bit longer, it made sense to you? You put money into something that maybe should be scrapped, right? So, or I definitely write in for that. I want to hear about that. So we're all resistant to change at some time. Here's what it all ties together. In business, I see this play out every time I talk to owners about joining Metro Trading Association. It's almost like clockwork. They say, what we're doing already works, or the classic is my employees will freak out if I make them learn a new way to do payments, or I barely have time to teach them trade. I don't have time for that. Let's not rock the boat. Or I got high turnover volume. The employees will never learn it. Or I don't want to deal with taxes or the new way of doing things, right? There's a list of things. So I get all of it. And there's value in routines. Sometimes anything that keeps the hustle moving. Change is hard, even when it could mean more opportunity. And by more opportunity in business, there's what I just talked about. Opportunity for me, if I was to upgrade my smoker, is, my son is going to be starting homeschool here next year. And we're going to have friends over. Homeschoolers are a tight-knit community. I'm sure we're going to have barbecues. And I'd love to host more than just 3 racks of ribs, the volume. So if I get a smoker that holds more, then more opportunity to have more guests over, more friends, blah, blah, blah. The kids have more fun, et cetera, right? So I'm not saying I'm not ever going to do it. I'm just saying right now, I don't want to learn something new. I just don't feel like learning something new. And to be fair, I don't feel like dropping $2,000 on that. And the big dream is, if I can really do it, and if I do get I might be starting a barbecue trailer on the weekends, or go to events, and I want a smoker or a good offset. So I dream really big. It's completely unnecessary. But someday I really want that hammer forged beast. It's like $8,000 of pure offset steel magic. Even the gravity smoker is tempting me at 1800, but when I step back and look at what I really got, you know, the upgrades, the muscle memory, all those little touches, I realize that squeezing the most out of the current setup for now is my best call. Plus, there's also something very valuable here that my son helped me. Actually, it literally just happened last night. My 2-year-old son remembered that I had to add wood to my offset. Now, last night I was doing a bunch of chicken on it, and I needed the offset as opposed to the Weber last night because I was doing a whole huge rack thing of chicken thighs plus the extra chicken thighs my wife made up and then marinated, and then also I think it was it. But it was a ton. It was like pounds of food. It took up the whole Oklahoma Joe's like grill. I could have never fit it all on the Weber without having a huge mess and problems. It's because if it flares up, you're done, right? So anyway, he's so cute. He brought out mesquite chips for me to throw on the smoker because you remember that I had to add wood to it. Of course, he didn't realize that the firebox wasn't lit up, but I thought about it. I was like, my God, this kid already loves like the hands-on approach of making food, of eating and preparing food. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go ahead and just erase the whole gravity smoker thing. Because basically with that thing, once you set it, you just let it roll for 8 hours or 12 hours. And then you open the door and it's done. I mean, you add charcoal from the top. You never add it. You never do anything. There's no tinkering. But my son loved the whole hands-on approach of it. So, I was like, you know what? You talked me into it. So, he helped me buy a $8,000 rig one day, I guess. So maybe you're feeling that in your business too, right? The urge to chase the next big thing, but the wisdom to build on what works is just easier. So let's break it down. Start smart, sustainable moves, okay? Audit what you have before you replace it. Upgrade or repair before you buy, especially if you're already invested in tools and know-how. Talk to your team. Sometimes their resistance is a signal that training or a small tweak could go further than a full overhaul. And celebrate your wins, big or small. Post about it, tell your customers. People love resourcefulness. All right, let's wrap this up. Special thanks and shout outs. Before I wrap up, I got to shout out some fantastic folks who help me do more for the community. Michigan Renaissance Festival, always a blast and a great place to gather. Metro Trading Association, y'all the reason I work so hard to help businesses find value in every single day. And Quantum Local Media, thanks for getting MTA members featured on indoor billboards all over town. The free advertising is a huge for the community. If you don't know, check it out. If you're a new member, we'll bring you in, and the application fee also pays for, it gets you, I'll give you the information to get an indoor billboard. And then you get a free commercial on your indoor billboard on your location, plus 5 more around town. It's a pretty sweet deal. It's like a $5,000 value, okay? So definitely check out that. Let me know if you're interested in that. If you're high volume area, if you have a lot of customers coming in and out, boom, give me a call. And Susie Q's Kids, your partnership brings joy to the kids who need it most. So that's my story today. From fixing smokers to fixing business problems. Remember, sustainability doesn't always need to be complicated. Sometimes it's about using what you've got, upgrading smart, and involving your community. If you want to trade stories with Join MTA or just chat business or barbecue, hit me up. Until next time, I'm Trader Stu. And as always, whatever you do, be good or be good at it.